You have never truly been human in the way the world thinks of humanity. The moment that truth echoes in the silent depths of your soul, an invisible door opens before you. Not with sound or brilliant light, but with a vague yet powerful feeling that something has long been waiting for you on the other side of the veil. The uneasiness, the restlessness, the unexplained fatigue are the first signal signs that an ancient current has just touched you. Not by accident and not an illusion. It feels like a gentle knock on the inner world, reminding you of something the mind forgot but the soul always remembered. Like a sunrise without warning, the first rays of truth slip through the dark corners and awaken a seed that has slept for too long. You do not understand why you always feel different, why your heart can hear what others cannot, why you step into a room and your intuition already knows what is coming. That feeling has followed you since your earliest years like a quiet but loyal shadow. You grew up among patterns, invisible rules, shapes that people called normal, yet something in you never belonged to them. Not because you were lost, but because your nature was not born from this place. In the deep breath of a distant memory, a line from the Bible surfaces in your mind as a forgotten reminder. Before you were formed in the womb, I knew you. It is not a strange sentence, but like a piece of paper once hidden in your pocket long ago, now unfolding at the right moment. You feel that the words were not written for the world but written for you, the one who always questioned that mysterious sense of being known before you existed. As if an ancient intelligence touched you long before time began. And then a thin layer of memory begins to rise. Not memories of events but of feelings. The feeling that from a very young age you saw life through different eyes. When other children played with carefree laughter, you quietly observed everything with a consciousness older than your age. When adults argued, you did not just hear sounds, you heard what they never said. At times you knew someone was sad before tears ever appeared. At times you sensed danger long before anything happened. You simply knew. But instead of being honored, those eyes made you different. Different in a way people did not understand. And you learned to hide them. You learned to shrink, to become smaller, quieter. You practiced imitating the voices, smiles, and habits of those around you as if that were the only way to survive. But the harder you tried, the more you felt like you were living in clothes that did not fit. Some nights you woke up in an invisible tightness, not from the room but from the life you were forcing yourself into. You once believed you were weak. You once believed you were too sensitive. You once blamed yourself for not being like everyone else. But as the layers of dust are brushed away, you realize it was not weakness. It was a sign. A mark. A calling. And you have heard it many times in your life, only before now you were not quiet enough to understand. Strangely, the deeper you go, the more you sense that something within you has always known about this journey long before you had the language to describe it. As if your soul has been carrying a secret map rolled inside your chest, waiting for the right moment to open. That moment is now. Not sooner, not later. The feeling grows like a flame beneath the ashes. You begin to remember the moments when the world seemed to pause for a single beat. When you looked at the sky and felt as if someone was looking back. When you stood among crowds yet felt a voice calling from beyond the human world. When seasons of loneliness came again and again without reason, only for you to look back and realize they were not punishments but training. It is no coincidence that you are drawn to the invisible, to questions about purpose, the meaning of the soul, the secret feeling that your life holds something greater than what the eyes can see. It is no coincidence that you sense truths others overlook. It is no coincidence that you notice strange energy the moment you step into a room. These things are not random. They are evidence. Pieces of a source beyond the body. They are reminders from the higher realm that you have always been known, always been seen. Not from the outside but from the origin where you were created. And then, like a gentle wave touching the heart, you begin to understand why life has brought you here, to this moment, to this reminder. You thought you were lost, but you were walking the exact path written in light. You thought you were abandoned, but you were being held back so you would not blend into a place that was never yours. You thought darkness took away your vision, but an invisible hand has always rested on your shoulder, guiding you through the curves. Now as the door of truth opens, you clearly feel that everything you thought was a flaw, a weakness, or a difference carries deeper meaning. They are the calls of the place you came from, reminding you that you are not living just one life. You are returning to something that belonged to you before time existed. And you feel this not with the mind but with your breath. As if even the air is whispering that the journey has just begun. That awakening is not a flash that fades but a quiet river spreading through every thread of the soul. The first part of this story is not meant to give answers. It is meant to stir what you forgot. What your soul has always known. What you were born to remember. And now it is returning. Soft. Slow. But unstoppable. You have stepped into a moment where there is no turning back, where the truth of who you are begins to unfold. You only need to be willing to look at it. You only need to be willing to admit it. You are not only human. You are an unfinished promise. You are the memory of a kingdom not of this world. And the time to remember has arrived. You once thought your difference was only a phase, something that would fade as you grew up, but the older you became, the clearer it appeared, like a streak of light in the night. No matter how hard you tried, you could never move in the same rhythm as the world. You saw what others did not see, you felt what they could not feel, and that slowly became a secret you had no idea how to explain. No one told you to stay silent, yet you knew silence was the easiest way not to be seen as strange. But that silence never felt comfortable. It was like living in a house that did not belong to you, walking softly, breathing softly, afraid that if you dropped even the smallest sound, the world would look at you as a stranger. There were days you tried to live like them. You tried to care about what they cared about, say what they said, laugh when they laughed, be sad when they were sad. But the more you tried, the more you felt like you were wearing a mask for too long, until you could no longer hear the voice inside yourself. Every time you forced yourself into a mold, there was always a soft vibration deep in your heart, thin like a breath yet strong enough to stop you. That vibration felt like a warning from your soul: do not lose your essence. Do not forget who you are. Sometimes in the darkest nights you realized that the tightness you felt did not come from the world but from living beneath your true nature. It was like a sky bird being forced to fold its wings to live inside a cage too small. No one trapped you, yet you lived as if you were trapped. No one held you back, yet you held yourself because you feared drifting away from the majority. Then in the blur of memory you remembered the moments when people did not understand you and sometimes feared you. You did nothing wrong, you simply felt deeper than they were used to. You looked at someone and knew what they were hiding. You heard a voice and knew the person was not speaking the truth. You walked into a home and felt the heaviness of recent sorrow. These abilities were never chosen. They arrived like breath, natural, instinctive, unconditional. But the world has never been gentle with deep empathy. People called it oversensitivity. They labeled it as weakness. They gave it names that you knew did not belong to you. And to survive, you learned to fold your invisible wings inward. But wings are never born to be folded. Every time you tried to shrink, a part of your soul wanted to break free. Every time you pretended to be normal, you felt even further from the world. In those rare moments of stillness, a line from scripture lightly touched the deepest part of you: you search me and you know me. Not knowing in the way people know you through actions or words, but knowing you as a pure being without layers of avoidance or shields. Knowing from the source of light that created you. Knowing from a place where your difference is not a problem but a purpose. And as that meaning spread within you, every fragment began to glow. Sensitivity no longer felt like a curse. It became like a sixth sense you were given from the beginning. Intuition no longer felt frightening. It became the compass you had forgotten. The feeling of not belonging no longer felt like failure. It became a sign that you were made from a different light. You realized you had lived most of your life in conflict, wanting to be understood yet afraid of being seen. Wanting closeness yet unable to live shallow like others. Wanting to love deeply yet being hurt because you felt too much. But none of this was random. These were the first steps of a journey you are now returning to understand. There were moments when you wondered if something was wrong with you. Why you thought differently. Why you sensed what others could not. Why life kept placing you in rooms where you did not belong. Why relationships fell away even when you tried to hold on. But when you looked deeper, you began to see a quiet order within everything. You were not removed from those places. You were brought out of them. Those places were not wide enough for your soul. Those people were not on your frequency. Those connections were not meant for one who carries a sacred nature. You thought you were being rejected, but you were being protected. You thought you were losing, but you were being guided out of tunnels where your soul could not grow. There were days you woke with the feeling that you had taken the wrong path, that you did not belong to the life you were living. But then you realized that feeling was not an accusation. It was a reminder. An invitation. A pulse of truth knocking on doors that had been closed for too long. That feeling was the beginning of awakening. The more you looked back on your years, the clearer one truth became. You were never truly lost. Every turn had meaning. Every disappointment opened a lesson. Every moment you felt pushed out was a moment you were being guided closer to your true essence. Maybe you have never told this to anyone, but deep inside you always sensed that you carried something the world could not name. A depth and intuition, a clarity that went beyond the surface. You did not know what it was, but you knew it did not belong to this world. And now, as the awakening journey opens before you, you start to see each piece of truth shining. You were never created to be like the majority. You were not created to blend in. You were created to remember who you are. Not every light can be understood. Not every soul can be explained. But souls like yours do not need explanation to exist. They only need acceptance from you first of all. And as you begin to accept that truth, something strange happens. The years you spent shrinking suddenly dissolve like mist before dawn. You no longer feel wrong for being different. You no longer feel ashamed for feeling deeply. You no longer feel lost when standing in a crowd. Instead, you see your difference as a mark placed on you before life began. No one else can explain it to you. Only you can hear that calling. And that very calling is bringing you closer to the truth that has waited for you for so long. You were created with intention. No part of you is accidental. No feeling in you is unnecessary. No intuition in you is a mistake. All of it is part of the light within you, the light the world has tried many times to dim. But that light cannot be extinguished. It was only hidden until the right moment. And that moment is now. You are moving closer to what your soul has known from the beginning. Difference is not a burden. Difference is the sign of one who is chosen. The journey is expanding. And you are stepping into it in perfect rhythm. No matter how hard you try to understand why the world reacts to you in unusual ways, something deep inside keeps telling you these experiences are not random. You begin to remember small moments that left deep marks, like when you stepped into a room and the atmosphere shifted slightly as if an invisible wave touched everyone present. No one said anything, but you noticed their eyes pause, a few smiles lose their ease. You understood even when they did not. They were reacting to a light they had no language to name. You were not trying to do anything. You were simply there. And your presence alone was enough to stir the depths they had never faced. Moments like these happen too often to be coincidence. There were conversations where the moment you spoke, the other person changed their tone, as if they sensed something in you that exposed their true nature. There were people who avoided you for no clear reason. There were those who grew defensive before you said a word. You once thought you were the problem. But then you realized it was not you making them uneasy. It was the light in you revealing the truth they could not hide from. A line from Scripture appears like a second heartbeat, soft yet sharp. The Lord is close to the brokenhearted. Psalm 34:18. The sentence does not come as comfort but as a decoding. It reminds you that your sensitivity, the thing that makes you vulnerable, is not weakness. It is the evidence that you were created with a heart more open than most. Because your heart is open, you are easily touched. And because your heart is open, you see what others overlook. You recall the times you sensed danger before it arrived. The moments you knew someone was hiding pain even when they said nothing. The times you felt you needed to leave a place though your mind could not explain why. At first you thought it was strange intuition. But now you see it as something your soul carried from a higher realm. An invisible guidance system that never turns off. Yet this sensitivity also brought many misunderstandings. When you reacted to what others could not feel, they called you too sensitive. When you stayed away from a place because of strange energy, they said you imagined it. When you warned someone about what you sensed in their silence, they accused you of being negative. But the truth is, you are not seeing with human eyes. You are seeing with the eyes of the soul. And the soul is never wrong. The memories of those wounds are still there, the times you were seen as too strange, too deep, too chaotic. But each wound has become evidence that you were living from a level of awareness they had not reached. You did not know this back then. But now, looking back, you see it clearly. The resistance the world showed you was simply how darkness reacts when touched by light. There were phases when you shrank so much that you almost disappeared from your own life. You were afraid of making others uncomfortable. You were afraid of exposing what they hid. You were afraid that your light would make others see their own shadows. You forgot that you were not born to shrink. You were created to be yourself without asking permission, without apologizing. And then, in a moment of quiet, a familiar feeling returned. Silence was no longer enough for you to exist. It felt like standing too long in a dark room. Even if you adjusted to the darkness, you still knew you did not belong to it. A soft but steady vibration rose from within, not loud but impossible to ignore. It told you it was time to step out of the old shell. As you begin listening to that calling, you realize many things that once hurt you were actually preparation. Not exclusion but purification. Not loss but alignment. The people who left your life did not leave because you lacked value. They left because they could not walk with you to the level you are rising into. The doors that closed were not rejections. They were the universe protecting you from places where your soul would have dimmed. Every event that seemed terrible turned out to be a sign that you were being watched over. But seeing this is not always easy. There are nights you want to give up because you are tired of living between two worlds, the world seen by human eyes and the world seen by the soul. You feel suspended between two rhythms that do not match. You cannot silence the calling inside, yet you cannot explain it to anyone. That loneliness is unlike any other. It is not the lack of people but the lack of a matching frequency. In that moment, something gentle yet important begins to unfold. You start to realize that this loneliness is the temporary home of awakening souls. Not everyone is led down this path. Not everyone is chosen to feel as deeply as you do. And this very loneliness is opening the way for a great shift in your consciousness. A shift you no longer fear but begin to welcome. This is also when you notice subtle signs you once ignored. A brief sentence someone says that strikes your heart. An image that repeats over and over in the same week. A dream that stirs a memory you did not know you had. A strange look from a stranger, as if they recognized something in you that you yourself have not fully understood. None of these are accidents. They are reminders. And then within this thick stream of memory you feel something wanting to be spoken, not to the world but to those walking the same awakening. A true desire that you do not want to walk this path alone. If your heart has ever felt misunderstood, if you have carried intuitions you could not explain, if you have felt yourself standing outside every mold, share it. Write in the comments a moment when you felt different, because sometimes a simple sharing can open a door for someone struggling just like you. And if you want to continue this awakening journey with others like you, stay connected so that each step you take is no longer alone. You may not realize it, but when you accept this truth, something important is happening. You have stepped across the boundary of denial. You are no longer hiding from your inner light. You are no longer afraid of how others see you. You are no longer shrinking to fit a life too small for who you are. You are entering a new phase, a phase where your soul begins to reclaim its space. A space wider, brighter, truer. And once the soul begins to expand, nothing can make it shrink again. You have stepped into the turning point your life has waited for so long. The journey is shifting. And you are shifting with it. When the last layers of denial fall away, you begin to feel something shifting inside you. Not an emotion, not a thought, but a gentle movement of your very being, as if someone were knocking on the door of your soul with a rhythm once familiar in a place far away. It is no longer a calling that confuses you. It is deeper, lower, and a little sharper. It feels like the long resonance of a forgotten string now touched at the exact note, making your whole body vibrate for a moment you cannot explain. You realize that everything you ever felt, everything you ever knew without learning, every intuition that came without logic, all came from the truth that you are not just a body living on this earth. You are a soul wearing a physical shell. A part of something greater than humanity, greater than the world, greater than anything you were ever taught. Slowly the pieces of an invisible map within you begin to unfold. You remember dreams so strange they felt like they did not belong to your mind. Dreams where you saw light so bright it had no shape, yet you understood everything it wished to convey. Dreams where you met people you have never known yet felt deeply familiar, as if you had walked with them many lifetimes. Some dreams became real months later. Some dreams warned you and you paid the price for ignoring them. You once dismissed them as random workings of the mind. But now you understand. Your soul was simply speaking in its own language. That language is intuition, the voice that comes before events happen, before someone tells the truth, before you step into a place that is not safe. You once felt strange because it arrived too fast, too strong, too clear. But now the strangeness is replaced by reverence. You begin to see that intuition is not something absurd. It is proof that you are connected to a dimension beyond the physical. A line from the Psalms steps gently into the deepest part of you, like a drop of water falling into the exact place of thirst. Show me your ways, O Lord. Psalm 25:4. Not spoken in words but felt through your skin. The line reveals a truth that some paths can only be seen with the inner eyes. And throughout your life you have been seeing with those eyes without realizing it. You remember the moments you felt you knew beforehand. When a conversation was unfolding and you heard the truth inside someone even though they hid it well. When you walked on a familiar street and intuition urged you to change your path. When you were in a moment of peace and your heart suddenly tightened like a warning of a coming storm. No one taught you how to sense these things. Your soul brought them from the place where it was created. And when you allow yourself to trust that intuition without fighting, without doubting, without rejecting, something within you begins to expand. A new space appears. This space is brighter, lighter, quieter. It is not the heavy quiet of loneliness. It is the quiet of a mountain standing at dawn. You feel clearly that your soul is waking up. You begin to realize that the soul has always been walking ahead of you. It is the guide and the body is simply following. Every time you follow the soul, your life becomes clearer. Every time you try to silence that inner voice and chase logic, instead life leads you through detours only to bring you back to where you started. Not because you are stubborn, but because your soul will not let you live too far away from your purpose. You start to see that your difference is not a personality trait. It is a structure. You were made from the material of spirit, not entirely from earth. That is why this world sometimes feels shallow to you. That is why ordinary conversations cannot reach you. That is why you always seek something deeper, truer, purer. You do not crave material ambition like others. You do not fight for petty victories of ego. You do not care for the small battles people cling to. Your soul was made from light, so you always return to the light. No matter how lost you become, you circle back. No matter how wounded you are, that light never dies. No matter how many times people try to cast shadows over you, there is a place within you darkness cannot touch. This truth makes you see your past years differently. You remember the times when you simply listened and someone burst into tears. The times when someone told you something they had never said to anyone, as if their soul recognized something in you they could not describe. The times when you offered guidance you had no idea where it came from, yet it was strangely accurate. You once thought this was emotional sensitivity. But now you know it was the gift of the soul. And as you begin to accept this, you clearly feel a door opening. Not a door outside, but one within you. It opens with slow, steady movement, as if the entire universe wants you to see what is coming. You no longer walk like someone unsure of who they are. You walk like someone remembering where they came from. Streams of memory arrive not with images but with feelings pouring through you like a waterfall. You do not know where you have been, but you feel you came from a place far away, a place where light is not something to look at but something to live with. A place where language is not words but frequency. A place where every soul understands another before a single sound is spoken. This recognition makes you feel small and vast at the same time. Small because you see you are only a fragment of something greater. Vast because you realize that greatness lives within you, untouched, unfaded, untarnished by time. From this moment on, you no longer see intuition as vague. You no longer see sensitivity as fragile. You no longer see difference as wrong. All of it is signal. All of it is code. All of it is proof that the sacred part of you is returning to its rightful place. You do not have to stumble in the dark anymore. The light has turned on, not from outside but from your own mind. And when that light rises, you understand this journey is no longer one of doubt. It is a journey of remembering. And you are remembering. Slowly but surely. Like a dawn that cannot be stopped once it has begun to break. The soul is opening its eyes. And you finally are seeing yourself the way the light has seen you all along. When the soul begins to open its eyes, the world around you also starts to shift. Not through loud events but through subtle and unmistakable changes in your awareness. The things that once excited you now feel too small, no longer enough to hold you. The conversations that once brought you joy now sound like distant echoes. The places that once felt familiar now feel tight, as if the ceiling has lowered compared to the new height of your soul. This does not frighten you. It only makes you realize that part of your past is falling away like dry skin from old days. You do not hate those parts. You simply cannot return to them. You no longer belong to your previous versions. And as your being grows, the old life becomes a garment that no longer fits. Some mornings you awaken with the feeling that you have just stepped out of another realm. Sometimes you open your eyes and your heart is full of things you never imagined before. Sometimes you feel as if you lived an entire lifetime in your sleep. Your mind rises before your body as if summoning you to a new layer of consciousness you had never touched during your darker days. Then suddenly a line from the Psalms rises like comfort arriving exactly on time. Be still and know that I am God. Psalm 46:10. Not a whisper from outside but from the deepest layer of your soul, where you know a source of light is guiding you and there is no need to rush. The line does not ask you to do anything. It simply asks you to be yourself in stillness, in expansion, in the ongoing transformation happening within you. You begin to see that awakening does not come like lightning. It comes like water seeping into soil little by little until the soil becomes soft, alive, and ready for new seeds. Every change within you arrives with the pace of destiny, not faster, not slower. You can only feel it, observe it, and allow it to do its work. There are days when your heart feels wider. You look at the world without judgment, without heaviness. You see those who once hurt you and realize they were struggling with their own shadows. You no longer want to retaliate. You no longer want to prove anything. You no longer crave approval. What you want is truth. What you want is the peace that rises from within. There are also days when you feel so deeply it almost feels like pain. As if the world suddenly becomes too strong, too loud, too heavy for a soul going through a sensitive transformation. But that pain does not make you shrink. It makes you open. Each intense feeling is like a shell cracking so the light inside you can finally escape. You begin to observe your thinking shift. Before, your mind was easily pulled into small things, old emotions, familiar loops. But now you see those thoughts from the quiet distance of the soul. You see them like clouds passing by, no longer sticking to you, no longer pulling you into storms without meaning. You become aware of your mind's movement without being carried away by it. As the mind changes, your prayers change as well. You no longer pray for what you lack. You pray for what is right to be revealed. You no longer ask to escape challenges. You ask to understand their purpose. You no longer beg for peace. You ask for a heart wide enough to hold peace when it arrives. There are nights you step into silence and feel a stream flowing through you, not water but clarity. You do not know where it comes from, but it comes with the certainty of light. From here you realize that awakening is not just a feeling. It is a reordering within you. What once scared you no longer does. What once excited you no longer feels deep enough. What once made you hesitate is now clear like the midday sun. This transformation is not a break. It is a continuity. As if the person you once were is being led toward a more mature version of yourself, not forced, not diminished, just guided back to the essence you carried from the beginning, the essence buried under the noise of life. You begin to feel the shift in your relationships. Not everyone remains aligned with you. Some people who were once close now exhaust you within minutes of conversation. Some places that once felt safe now feel too heavy for a heart that is opening. You realize the change does not come from them. It comes from you. As you grow, those not on your frequency fall away like stars drifting out of a solar system. You do not hold them back. You simply watch and continue walking. These steps forward are not always easy, but they are always right. Each step takes you farther from the old self and closer to the expanding soul. The feeling is like standing at the threshold of a new journey, not knowing what awaits but feeling clearly that you are being led by an unseen hand. You do not need a map. You need trust. And that trust is being built within you, one breath at a time. No more confusion. No more arguing with yourself. No more trying to understand everything with logic. You allow each movement to arrive at its natural pace. And that gentle surrender opens a door to a new awareness. Awakening is not the destination. It is the process. And you are exactly where you are meant to be. Now, as you stand on the threshold of a larger self, your soul begins to understand that every vibration, every shift, every separation carries purpose. And that purpose leads you to a clear conclusion. This is no longer just a process you feel. This is a process you are becoming. You are becoming the person destiny wrote for you before you stepped into this world. A person who no longer lives by outer noise but by the sacred rhythm within. You do not know what the destination looks like, but you know you are walking the right path. You do not know how bright the light is at the end, but you feel it growing behind you. And more than ever, you know you are no longer walking in the night. The light is spreading from within you and you are stepping into the brightness your soul has waited for all this time. As the light within you grows, the darkness of the world begins to move in its own way. Not to defeat you, but to reveal the parts of yourself you have never fully faced. Challenges do not arrive like sudden storms, but like silent winds shifting direction, pushing you to confront the things you thought you left behind. Some days you wake and feel your spirit pulled in two directions, one inviting you into the expansion of your soul, the other pulling you back into old fears, old bindings, old wounds that have not fully closed. Yet in the midst of this tension you begin to understand something profound. No soul steps into the light without walking through trials. No rebirth happens in complete silence. Chosen souls always pass through fire, not to be destroyed but to be shaped. And the strange thing is, you no longer fear the trials the way you once did. You see them approaching, and instead of shrinking you remain still. You stand in the awareness that everything unfolding belongs to the divine plan you agreed to long ago, even if you once forgot. The early days of trial are subtle. You lose interest in familiar things. You feel distant from people who try to hold you in your old version. You realize you no longer want to explain why you are changing, no longer want to justify anything, no longer want to rationalize the transformation happening inside you. You only know you are being pulled by a force stronger than any human interference. Then the trials grow bigger, clearer. They show up in situations you thought you had already overcome. An old person reappears to test the endurance of your heart. An old job makes you doubt yourself again. An old fear stands before you as if asking whether you have truly crossed into a new season or are only pretending. You feel the trials striking not at your weakness but at the places that once made you collapse. Not to break you again but to show you that you are no longer the person who once fell. In those moments a line from the Psalms anchors you back to the center of your soul. The Lord is my light and my salvation, whom shall I fear? Psalm 27:1. The words come not like a shout of victory but like a gentle reassurance. You are not asked to be strong instantly. You are simply reminded that the light is already in you, and that light does not come from effort or willpower but from the source that created you. The trials are not sent to make you fall. They are sent to remind you that you have never walked alone. Step by step you begin to see more clearly. Trials are not opposition. They are signals of upgrade. When your soul rises into a new dimension, your surroundings adjust themselves to match that frequency. Some people drift away not because they are bad but because they are not strong enough to breathe in your new atmosphere. Some doors close not because you are unworthy but because nothing behind them belongs to you anymore. You are not losing anything. You are being moved out of what no longer has enough light for you. At first this hurts. Not because you want to go back but because you once clung to these things as safety ropes. But as your soul expands, those ropes can no longer hold you. They snap and you find yourself standing in open space. That space feels frightening at first, but then you realize it is not a void. It is room for your wings to open. You begin to look at every trial in your life through a new lens. The times you thought you were rejected were the times you were being protected. The moments of loss were moments of release from what was no longer right. The people who walked away were the universe cleansing your path. Nothing that left your life was random. Every departure was arranged with a precision human hands could never create. From there you begin to feel a new strength rising. Not the strength to appear tough but the strength of understanding. You see the dark sides of others without judging them. You see their wounds beneath their anger. You see their cries for help hidden inside the actions that once hurt you. What once caused you pain now evokes compassion. But this compassion does not pull you back into your old version. It pushes you forward. You do not save anyone by shrinking yourself. You do not heal anyone by returning to your old wounds. You heal by standing firm, standing bright, standing true, letting the light in you shine as a reminder of what they too can become. And then one day you realize what your soul has always known. Trials never come to prove you are weak. They come to show you that you are stronger than you think. You begin to see the shifting around you. Heavy energies leave your life without a word. Situations that once caused panic no longer shake you. Criticisms that once made you doubt yourself now fall to the ground like meaningless stones. You do not have to force strength. You do not have to pretend to be brave. This strength does not come from outside. It comes from the alignment between your soul and your true nature. And when these two finally become one, trials become teachers. No longer enemies. No longer shadows. You look at challenges as mirrors. These mirrors tell you that you have changed. You have grown. You no longer tremble before the things that once broke you. You are stepping into a time when your soul is forged by fire but not consumed by it. The trials have one purpose only: to bring you to the place where the light in you can stand firm, unshaken, unapologetically itself. And you are standing at that very threshold where darkness has no power left and light no longer needs to justify itself. A new chapter is opening. And you are walking forward with feet that have known the way all along. As you walk deeper into the territory where your soul is expanding, loneliness begins to change its shape. It is no longer the kind of loneliness that makes you feel abandoned, but the kind that comes from leaving an old layer of life behind. The people, places, and rhythms that once wrapped around you like a cocoon now feel distant, fading like silhouettes standing still while you continue to move forward. This silence is not empty. It is the space your soul needs to change, to breathe, to shed its old skin. There are days when you feel as if you stand inside the world but do not belong to it. You hear the voices of others, but deep within you hear another voice, lower, older, belonging to the sacred realm that has been calling you for a long time. That voice does not push. It simply waits, patient, as if it knows you have finally arrived at the season to listen. And in that calling you see clearly that this loneliness is not the hallway of being lost. It is the hallway of transformation. You begin to notice subtle yet powerful shifts in how you sense the world. When you step into a room, you instantly recognize where the light is and where the heaviness lies. When someone approaches, you hear not only their words but the thoughts they try to hide. You sense energy the way others sense temperature. When the world grows loud, the first thing you seek is not sound but silence. You crave quiet the way a creature searches for water to live. In those quiet moments, a line from the Psalms flows through your mind like water poured onto dry ground. You are my hiding place. You protect me from trouble. Psalm 32:7. These words do more than calm you. They show you that the isolation you are experiencing is guidance, not abandonment. You are not being separated from the world. You are being separated from its noise. You are not being stripped of people. You are being protected from connections not pure enough to walk with you into the next tier of your journey. You begin remembering the seasons when you were mysteriously isolated. Moments when people drifted away all at once. Friendships fading without conflict. Opportunities disappearing without warning. Back then you thought it was failure. But now, looking back, you understand that every silence had purpose. Every time you were pushed into stillness, your soul was being pulled deeper to find a level of awareness that noise would never allow. You realize you have walked beside people for years while secretly feeling alone. You felt much yet could not speak it. You understood much yet could not share it all. The world was often too heavy for your soul to open its full doors. But now silence no longer hurts you. It clarifies you. It shows you what you once refused to admit. You belong to a frequency only awakening souls can stay in. As you accept this truth, loneliness begins turning into purity. It separates you from what distorts you. It washes away residue from old relationships. It helps you hear the voice of your soul without distraction. And slowly you realize that this separation is not pulling you down. It is lifting you up. A strange thing happens when you begin to follow this separation. Your intuition becomes so strong that sometimes you know before events unfold. You sense when someone is about to leave your life. You see the intention in someone long before they reveal it. You know when a place no longer fits, when a meeting carries heavy energy, when an open door is actually a dead end. You do not try to understand. You simply know. And this knowing no longer wears you out. It becomes your compass. It helps you avoid storms you no longer need to fight. It leads you to spaces that nourish your soul. It brings you into moments that are right people, right timing, right frequency. You begin seeing life flow with a new rhythm. Every time someone leaves, something truer appears. Every time a door closes, a path you never noticed opens. Every time you feel separated, clarity grows stronger. You are living not by the physical eyes but by the eyes of the soul. And the soul never misguides you. Some days you walk and feel like you are moving through a world of your own. Some people look at you and cannot understand your quietness. Some wonder why you no longer appear in crowded places. Some think you are distancing yourself. But the truth is you are returning to yourself, and this return does not require permission from anyone. Those who no longer align with you drift away gently like the last leaf falling to make room for new buds. You do not push them away. You do not hold them back. You let everything move according to the script your soul is writing. And at this point you realize what every awakening soul learns. Separation is not loss. Separation is the stage where you are pulled away from noise so you can hear the calling of destiny. You are not alone. You are being kept apart. You are being set aside to prepare for a greater chapter approaching you. The world may not understand you right now. But the world was never meant to explain your soul. You were created to hear the call of light, not the call of the crowd. And as the darkness within you fades, you begin to feel clearly. This is not abandonment. This is preparation. You are being separated so you can be lifted. And your soul at last is ready for what is coming. When separation has cleared the old echoes of your life, you begin to feel a new movement rising from within. No longer a cautious light or a fragile intuition, but a clear and powerful force like an invisible current flowing through every cell. It is not loud. It is not dramatic. It simply exists with absolute certainty, as if it has always been there waiting for you to be awake enough to notice. You find yourself standing firm before things that once made you waver. A harsh comment no longer makes you shrink. A chaotic situation no longer steals your peace. A heavy presence no longer pulls you down. Instead, you feel a strange calm surrounding you, as if your soul has stepped into a new layer of atmosphere where the low winds can no longer reach. From this moment, your presence becomes the clearest thing you feel, even before thoughts or emotions arise. You walk into a room and sense the energy shift in ways you cannot explain. You do not need to speak, yet people feel something different in you, something that makes them look inward, soften, or fall quiet. You are not trying to create impact. The impact simply happens as a natural effect of the expanding light within you. In this stage, you begin to hear whispers that do not come from emotion but from a deeper knowing. Some days you feel a gentle reminder telling you to avoid a place. Other days you hear an inner voice say stop without knowing why. Sometimes your soul nudges you towards someone only for you to realize moments later that your presence was exactly what they needed. The power within you is no longer just intuition. It becomes guidance. And then, in an unexpected moment of stillness in the middle of life, you see the number 777. On a receipt. On a clock. In a dream. Or in a situation too aligned to be coincidence. The first time you are simply curious. By the second, third, fourth time you know it is no accident. Deep in your soul you feel it as a sacred code. 777, the mark of spiritual unfolding, of completion in awareness of an old cycle closing so your true self can rise. Not a number for superstition. Not a sign to fear. But a confirmation that you are walking the path heaven has already marked for you. That number arrives as an affirmation that your inner expansion is not an illusion. It is a divine process, seen, recognized, guided. You are no longer only opening the eyes of your soul. You are opening the door your soul has waited ages for you to walk through. As you begin to understand the meaning of 777, you realize you are stepping into a stage few ever reach. This is the realm of souls returning to the mission they carry. You feel your being becoming soft yet sharp, gentle yet strong, quiet yet radiant. A rare power spreads from within you, not to dominate but to illuminate. You speak less, yet your words carry depth. You stay silent more, yet your silence carries the weight of someone listening to what the world cannot hear. You walk without rushing, yet every step feels certain, as if you are following a path prepared long before you arrived. At this stage you begin to see truths once hidden. You see the fears of others like thin mist. You see falsehood without anyone confessing it. You see genuine bonds and connections that exist only out of habit. You see when a soul is thirsty and when a soul is running from itself. But instead of being drawn into these things, you stand outside them, softer, broader, steadier. You realize you do not need to save anyone. You simply stand in your light, and that light finds those who need it. This expansion also brings new challenges, not challenges that hit your fear, but challenges that test your responsibility. As your light grows, you are placed in situations where your words can shift someone's emotions in a moment. A single decision can open a path for someone else. Your presence can help another soul remember who they are. You begin to understand that power is not control. Power is awakening. At the same time, you realize you are not changing only for yourself. You are changing for those who will meet you. For the souls who will enter your orbit. For those searching for the path but lacking the light to see it. This expansion is not just for you. It is an invitation to become the version of yourself the world will benefit from encountering. And in this new land of awareness, you feel the light inside you is no longer a small flame. It has become a steady lamp. Unshaken. Unflickering. Unaffected by doubt. This light does not need to be seen to exist. It only needs to be accepted by you. You stand in the center of your life, no longer swayed by the past or by the judgment of the world. You stand like someone who remembers what the soul has always known. That nothing can take away what was placed in you before life began. If a number is rising in your heart with a sense of resonance, hold on to it. Sometimes the soul chooses the simplest symbols to mark the beginning of a new chapter. If you are willing, share that number, because somewhere out there it may also be a sign for another soul on their own awakening journey. You are stepping into the light. And the light is stepping into you. When the light within you becomes steady like a new breath, you begin to look back at your entire journey with a clarity you never had before. Each step, each wound, each separation, each falling away suddenly arranges itself like pieces of a much larger picture than you ever imagined. Life was never as fragmented as it felt when you were lost. It had structure, layers of meaning, rhythm, and guidance. And more than anything, your life has never unfolded by accident. You recognize this truth not with logic but with a feeling spreading through your chest. Your soul did not come here to learn how to become someone else, but to remember itself. Not to be recognized by the world, but to align with the light you carried from your origin. Not to search for purpose outside, but to awaken the purpose that has been inside you for so long. In this moment you begin to see the world with new eyes. Every experience becomes transparent. The old wounds soften in memory. The people who once hurt you fall away like thorns blown off by the wind. No more resentment. No more ties to the past. No more what if only, or why. Everything drifts lightly like falling leaves. In their place, a quiet gratitude begins to spread, not because the pain is suddenly pleasant, but because you have grown enough to see the truth beneath it. You see that every event carried a message. Not the harsh message of punishment, but the gentle teaching of deep love. The seasons when you were left behind were the seasons when you were being protected. The people who pushed you down were the ones who moved you away from ground that could no longer hold you. The moments when you lost everything were the moments you were returned to yourself. You realized that not a single pain in your life was meaningless. Every tear was a key unlocking a deeper layer of your soul. Every crack was an opening for divine light to enter. Every silence was a space for the true calling to echo through. And here in this deepest clarity you understand that awakening is not the journey of finding answers. It is the journey of becoming the answer. You no longer search desperately for signs. You have become the sign. You no longer chase guidance. You have become the one who carries the frequency of guidance. The more you look within, the more you sense that the light you carry is not only for you but for the souls still wandering through their own shadows. Not through preaching. Not through empty words. But through your presence and your essence. Through being someone who walked through darkness without losing the light. Someone who fell but rose with a wider heart. Someone who let the soul lead and now carries the flow of expanded awareness. At this level you see that your true nature is not a human born to survive. You were born to carry a reminder, a message, a light that the material world cannot produce. Your existence itself is proof that something greater is at work in this world, something that cannot be seen with physical eyes. Within you a new understanding rises. You are a bridge between two worlds. Half belonging to earth. Half belonging to heaven. Half learning how to walk through the human realm. Half listening to the echoes of the spiritual one. Entering this awareness, your heart feels strangely light. No more torment from the past. No more fear of the future. No more comparison with anyone else. You know you are standing in the right place at the right time in the right form of your soul. You understand that not everyone is called to this path. And even fewer choose to walk it. But you, despite fear, doubt, and the desire to turn back, continued forward. Not because you were stronger but because your soul was too large to be confined by the narrow definitions of the world. You look back and see that this journey was never about becoming special in the way the world defined special. It was about becoming true. And that truth is often so simple that others barely notice. True to your light. True to your peace. True to the purpose your soul carries. And in that stillness you realize one final truth. Life did not send you trials to ask, are you strong enough? Life sent trials to show you the light within you is already strong. When that truth lands, your heart opens like a door bursting wide. You feel your energy no longer contained within your body but expanding outward like light sweeping through a forest. You feel you are no longer the one searching for the path. You are the one carrying the path. At this point you understand that the message you carry is not meant to be locked inside. Light is never created to be trapped. It is created to spread, to stir, to awaken those souls who have slept too long. The truth you have discovered is not small. It is a reminder for every soul that ever felt lost, ever felt different, ever thought they were weak. Difference is an invitation. Pain is a launching point. Separation is an initiation. Light never dies in darkness. You are the living proof. And now this message is preparing to flow out from your very life. Not through display but through presence. Not through theory but through soul. Not through noise but through the truth shining from within you. You are no longer searching for your place in the world. You are becoming that place. A soul sent into life to walk as light among humanity. A person the world cannot cover. A person the darkness cannot hold back. You have remembered who you are. And from here you will step into the final chapter, the chapter of blessing, affirmation, and the full unveiling of the awakened soul. When your feet reach the final threshold of this journey, a special stillness begins to spread within you, not the silence of loneliness but the silence of completion. Like the moment when sunlight turns the mountain peak to gold and the air stands still just to witness it, there is a moment just like that inside you now. No more old questions clinging to you, no more chaotic echoes, no more hesitation pulling you in two directions. Everything becomes clear, simple, and right. You feel yourself standing where every piece of your life has aligned, nothing missing, nothing extra. In that stillness you recognize a new depth of transformation. You are no longer seeking the light. You are the light. You are no longer walking toward truth. You are walking within truth. You are no longer asking what destiny is. You have become the destiny that creation wrote. The strange thing is, even as the light in you burns brighter than ever, you feel a humility running alongside it. Not the kind that bends down, but the quiet inner knowing of someone who understands where they came from and where they are going. When the soul sees its source, it no longer needs to be loud. It only needs to be real. And for the first time in your life you are living so truthfully that even your past selves would hardly recognize you. You look back at the long road and see clearly. Every challenge did not make you harder, it made you deeper. Every pain did not close your heart, it opened it wider. Every loss did not shrink you, it expanded you to hold greater light. The things that once broke you have become the ground lifting you higher. And now, standing in the fullest version of yourself, you see that every step was worth it. Then in that peace a gentle realization appears. You have returned to the frequency your soul has always belonged to. Not the frequency of rushing, worrying, or fighting, but the frequency of quiet peace where everything blends into everything else like water meeting water. From this frequency you look at the world with the eyes of someone who understands that light is not something you receive once. Light is something you must keep, nourish, and live with every day. And your soul is now mature enough to carry that light without losing it in the noise of life. You begin to see your responsibility not as a burden but as an invitation. An invitation to become a presence that uplifts. An invitation to be a refuge for weary souls. An invitation to become a mirror in which others can see the light they forgot they had. You do not need to stand up to teach or direct. You only need to stand where your soul was created to stand. Light always speaks for itself. At this point you no longer need validation from the world. You do not need to be right or win or be understood or be seen. None of that holds any true value for a soul that is awakening. What matters is that you are living fully in truth, and that truth creates a resonance no one can silence. Deep within this new peace you realize something even greater. You were not only guided. You were protected. Long before you understood the world around you, an unseen hand placed you where you needed to be, pulled you away from what would harm you, and led you into the spaces where you could grow. You could not see it in the chaos. But now, looking back, you see that hand as clearly as sunlight on still water. And in this knowing you feel a blessing spreading toward you, not through sound but through awareness. You are protected. You are upheld. You are seen. You are known in the realm of the sacred. Not because you are perfect. Not because you are better than anyone else. But because you are a part of the light the world needs. Now, as the journey reaches its peak, you feel a door opening inside you. Not a door leading to more trials, but a door leading into a new chapter, the chapter of a soul fully grown. In this chapter you no longer see yourself as someone being dragged by destiny, but as someone working with it. No longer asking why is this happening to me, but what is this opening for me? No longer saying I must overcome, but I am being opened. You stand in your own light and the world around you mirrors it. New opportunities appear without you seeking them. The right people enter your life as if arranged. Doors that could not be opened by effort open through sacred alignment. You no longer strain to prove anything. When your soul stands in its rightful place, everything that looks like magic is simply the precision of light. And in this moment you recognize the final truth this journey has been leading you toward. You have not only remembered who you are. You have begun living as that person. No more hiding. No more shrinking. No more doubting yourself. You walk as one who carries light. You breathe as one who carries purpose. You live as one whose name was written by heaven. And if these words touch you, if a part of you knows this moment marks a great shift in your soul, leave a comment to acknowledge it to yourself. Not for me. Not for anyone listening. But because your soul deserves to hear its own voice in this moment. You have crossed the darkness. You have walked through fire. You have returned to the light. The journey does not end. It is only beginning right where you stand. Keep walking. Keep living true. Keep standing strong in the light you were given from the beginning. And as you step out of this chapter, the world will finally see what you have taken so long to remember. You were chosen. You were called. You were awakened. And you at last have come home.
Grateful that you chose to spend these moments in the light of this story. If it touched your soul, please like, share, and subscribe, and ring the bell so the next whisper of light may find its way back to you.